Hey guys, welcome to Weekly Read. Today's shoutouts would be, because his name is hard to do properly, NC Hammer 23. For some reason, I keep thinking of 63. And the second one is Omplafil. I think I pronounce it. As always, if I've been pronouncing your name wrong, I am sorry. And it'll be the first ads in the comment section below. So, let's get into today's video. Weekly reads. Right off the bat, I'd like to say, great news, Rumi Dragon is back on the air. Um, I really like the series, and I am happy that it is back. So let's talk about it. It's not really theories to theorize on. You can theorize what power she's gonna get next, but more like a slice of life thing. But it was interesting to see the chapters. I think the chapter was good, um, but I think the problem is it will feel way better once when they post relatively consistently. The thing was it was kind of because I forgot that they didn't go on hiatus. Like it's I guess because I associate hiatus with like, oh, I'm just taking a break for this thing. And a lot of times when people go on hiatus, they like their work is I don't think it was hiatus. Like that's not the best way to put it. I'm used to the webtoon hiatus. That's the best way to put it. Most of the time when webtoons go on hiatus, like it's typically in between seasons, and when they do, it like their work is extremely better. Like take for instance, Tower of God went on a hiatus. I wasn't reading when it first came out, right? I was catching up to date with it. But when Tower of God went on hiatus, I think midway through season one, um, and then came back on. That like the art style, it was still trash. It was still complete garbage. But it did look better. So I think that's the reason why I associate it with you're gonna come back better. And then also kind of the not bi-monthly effect. I forgot I don't know what the terms for the different scheduling of shonens are, but I'm used to the Boruto. I don't really care for it, but I do read it sometimes. The Dragon Ball, the one that I actually read, Choji X, which seems to be coming consistently. Not to be too clear, but sometimes inconsistently. Sometimes it's week after week after week, but then sometimes oh no, we're getting monthly. So it's hard to predict, but it's always fun to see when it come back. But yeah, I'm used to those type things where this is even better than last chapter. Or this is it's like some improve. Well, when it comes to the webtoon, this is an improvement. Or this is a lot. Typically, it's way more chapter than usual. Like on a usual, I want to say on a usual thing, you get 17 pages usually, 17 to 16 pages to read. On Shonen, so it's this is even longer than usual when you have something like Boruto or whatnot. This will be a lot of time over a white beater, or at least, a white beater without something over it, because I keep stretching and I keep forgetting to show my underarm hair. So for anyone who don't like that, I am incredibly sorry. But it shouldn't be too big of a deal, just like a second of it. But I understand people don't like that. I will try to avoid it from stretching. I try to avoid stretching my last video too, but apparently I have short-term memory loss, so I forgot to do that. But I'm used to that. But don't get me wrong, the chapter was good. It was fun to read. I think my taste also changed a little. Cause I was like, wait, why is she acting so clueless? But I forgot why. Until the end of the chapter. But I think it's interesting to read. It's fun. This chapter showed the aftermath of the electricity spiking up. Nothing really happened of it, which is a bit disappointing. It makes sense, but I was hoping that something funny would happen from it, someone a piece of paper catching on fire because of electricity. But the way we got it was also good. And then it left off with her going home to eat dinner. after Miguel yelled at her for like leave me alone, and I did not reread this thing before it came out because I wasn't aware that it was about to come back. Um, like I don't be going on social media often, so like if Shonen Jump was to be like, hey, this series coming back on their media platform like Twitch or something like that, I wouldn't know. Like take for instance, uh, sorry I keep bringing it up, but like Akira Toriyama's death, I did not know about until I was watching, not live, but a past live stream of Moist Critical while I was going to go play a game. Because he make good background noise. No offense to it. I don't think he's gonna take offense to that, but like take for instance, like him playing a game. I it's funny because I hardly not to derail from it. I hardly watch gameplay of him playing games. I typically watch it while playing other games. Like there've been some like Suicide Squad, but typically not really. Um, but the point of me bringing that up is like I didn't know about his death until that point, so I don't go into media. So I didn't have time to catch up with the series, which is not long to catch up. Um, you're only missing out one chapter, chapter 4, I think. I want to say allow you to read that. Um, but it's not that hard to catch up on. This is like a short series. It's only 7 chapters. Um, but so like this, I don't know if this is a girl from a period chapter that something he introduced with and just been released, but this girl got mad and I have no clue why, and we don't know. So I think that'd be an interesting plot point to continue onwards. Um, One thing that I am concerned about when it comes to this series, because a lot of Shonen Jumps kind of do the same thing, is I don't know if they get canceled or not, so I don't want to completely blame it on them, right? But a lot of them seem to not know where else to go and just end it with a time skip to something else. And there are 2 series. One of them, like, 2 series that got canceled that I really don't like. I think got canceled. That let's go with 3 series that all shows the problem with this, whether it be cancellation, which I'm pretty sure all 3 suffer from, or if it's just the story art, like the person creating not know how like what else to do, to keep the story actually in like a long running format, um, which is okay. I don't want to insult them. Like even if that's the reason why they had it in, that is perfectly fine, because even on some of these series I read, like, oh, there could be a lot of filler or whatever. But um, so here are the 3 series that I am concerned how it might turn out. Right? It's Kasabe Martial Arts. Is a series that had a lot of filler potential, but could also really get interesting and more in depth with different martial arts format. Kind of like the boxers, not to be rude to them, but like they could put a boxer format. But no, they skip to the final fight, pretty unceremoniously. But they skip to the final fight, and we don't even see how it ends. We just see them getting ready to fight, which is just disappointing. Um, it's been a while since I heard about this, but I think like Gazami Gang, it was a story with like the main character was essentially you and me, except unlike me, but maybe like you, he worked out a lot and became essentially a shonen character in real life. I think they gave an actual explanation for it, like something to do with his energy distribution, but I do not like how that series ended with like science skip, and then once again we don't see the final fight. It seems to be a lot of tricks with these like skip and no final fight. The last one is just a series that I really don't want it to end. Like there is one Super Smartphone, but to be fair, that series didn't. That manga ended, but the thing didn't. So if y'all have a way for me to watch it, read the like I guess the novel of it, please let me know. I gotta Google it by the way. But but the point is, um, there's the last one is PPP. let me tell you, you are lucky that I did not have this series planned when I was reading it, because this series ended in such a terrible way. I had to look up if it was canceled in order for me to be like, okay, was it canceled? Because otherwise, this is just terrible. And it was. But it was like even then, it was such a bad ending. It's like him switching with his alternate personality, and then alternate personality slapping his dad. It was such a bad ending. And I do not want any of them to. I don't want anyone to be like, oh, well, that's like, I don't want to be rude to creators, but I feel like everyone I gotta be critical of their work. And if they was canceled unceremoniously and this was not the plan you want to go down, I'm sorry for that. Or if y'all was canceled because y'all had not, like, y'all couldn't figure out what else to do, I understand. You know, things that sucks. But if y'all was playing, I'm just taking from like a storytelling perspective, like someone who don't know the story behind, like what happened behind it. Um, so like the average reader perspective, right? So from the average reader perspective, that's just it's such a bad ending. It's such a bad. And even if they got canceled, I'm pretty sure you could have pulled something better. I don't know. It just sucks so bad. Maybe someone could find it. Like I haven't seen any reviews talking about it. Sorry, yawning once again. I haven't seen any videos about it, but it was such a bad thing. And I hope that Roomy Dragon don't end like that. But it is a concern that I am thinking about. I'm also concerned of them just keep adding more and more powers, um, into just like too much. But I don't think it's going that way. It seems like it's getting more concrete with how it's going. So you have, I don't know like what they're gonna do. It could be stereotypical powers or whatnot. It seems to be European dragon designing, so I don't know, what they're gonna do. But they might start explaining with some of the science too, because like if you're able to heat up fire, like a special gas in your mouth, to that point you might be able to control heat or the movement of electrons, which allows you to control electricity and lightning, or channel it, as they say. Um, so they might go into more scientific explanation. But I am curious on how does it plan on going, and how long does that last? Because I don't want to get canceled, and it doesn't seem like it will because that was on hiatus for like a year, I think. And the fact that he came back kind of showed that shown at least want to give them some time, I think. So, yeah, that's good. Let's talk about Kaiju number 8 B story. I don't think I talked about it last time, but Kaiju number 8 B story. I thought it was just gonna be focused on the dual blade dude, but it seems to be just focused on everything that happened on the background based off of what we've seen. Um, and it was interesting because I was like, I wonder how else they're gonna go on because they said like, I don't know if I did it last time or I think the last time I talked about it, I was like, I wonder how they're gonna continue going on because like we're at the point of the story now. Like they were already talking about it before. Like we were pretty much already at the story. That like I don't know when the last time I talked about it, but like we was at the story at that point, right? So like, okay, how are we gonna do this? And suffices to say, you know, they did deliver. So last chapter we see what we know gonna end up being an axe. But the beginning of it, where it started off as a blade, which is really good from the like how they describe the blade, but I think it's interesting that it's like, or like we know it ended with the axe, but I think it's interesting to see why we end with the axe instead of like a sword. Because based on what we know, she does know some sword skills, and she starts like she was getting used to the axe versus the sword, which she seems to be very adept with to begin with. So I think it'd be interesting to see why they switched to the axe instead. They're about to fight two kaijus or a kaiju, so it seems like it might something go wrong during that kaiju fight, or like she's like, yeah, no, this doesn't produce enough power for me, and that's why they switched to. I'm pretty sure the reason she have an axe is for power, so like more strength for her attack. So it'd be interesting to see how that turn out. And the last one for this week will be let's go with Evasive Samurai, because the way this new character ended is interesting. We don't know if it's I would like to say it is not the heaven. I think there might be a time skip off of it. I don't know though. But we see him seemingly looking older with longer hair in a cherry blossom field. So it could be a couple months ahead and not that many years or a year. But we see him in the last chapter, like he was in heaven. So we don't know if he's still in heaven or not. And I think it's interesting. Also, I like to call fun of the series. It make a lot of sense, but I do think it's funny how they essentially was like, well, we need the main character to die at this point. So how we're gonna do this? It's based off of history as far as I'm aware. I don't know how much. Not a lot of it is historically based because but I wonder how much is based off of like the actual history of it. As far as I'm aware, based on a true story, right? Just taking some creative liberties to make it an interesting story, or more interesting story. Because history is very interesting and can be very interesting. It's just that a lot of times school it seems very boring. But I think it's based off true event. I remember looking up, and I'm not sure if I got yes or no. Because I looked at when it first came out. I don't know since then. But, I think it's funny that the way they solve, like, okay, so what's going to the afterlife be? They're like, let's just say just afterlife. We're not going to be very specific with it. We're just going to say every religion and at every time. That literally, like, it's every religion at every time point. And I think that's so funny because, like, they could have put, gonna take for instance, they could have took, just a classic approach is like, oh, we know religion. They could have talk about, like, they could make a Christian approach, which wouldn't make sense to story at that point in time, as far as I'm aware. But it would have been funny. Or they could just went with a typical Buddhist or Japanese. Yeah, I think Buddhism is the top one. I could be wrong. Right? I'm probably getting wrong because it's been like a week since I looked at the statistics of it. But the point is, like, they could have went with a lot of different religion approaches, but I think it's so funny and it makes a lot of sense, right? You don't want to anger anyone, but I think it's funny that like, let's just say every religion is canon or go to heaven instead of making one specific one that go to heaven. And I love that. Is a great way to avoid that topic, I guess, and also really funny, especially with the like. Oh, it's also all time periods because it's like also very ludicrous. Like, okay, come on, you gotta say which one you believe in. You gotta say something. But he was like, no, I'm not gonna say anything. We're saying neutral, and he was like, all time periods too, which I think is interesting that he riding a ski boat instead of like something futuristic. I think that's hilarious to think about. It's like, wait, you're saying I could go across the water in a hovercraft? Nah, give me that speedboat. Not even speedboat. I forgot what they're called, but like they're the tiny, like tiny. They're like the motorcycles for boats. That might actually, I don't think they're called speedboats, but it's just hilarious. But I don't think he's dead. I think there might be a time skip of a little bit, not too much, or like just an error between that. I also like to say that I do believe that the person who he was fighting against can come back, even though they're like, no, he can't come back. I do think there is redeeming him because we've seen the technique that he does, especially when it's successfully proven, and he didn't even complete it. He just went diagonal. Now, in case you're wondering, I forgot the name of the move, but I can showcase how it goes. I think you go like this, right? You make an X, then you rise your hands up to cut you twist the blade opposite, or you rise it up so that you can cut off their arms, and then you swing to. I don't know. Like I said, remove their head. I don't know if the actual word for it is forbidden or not on YouTube. But that was it. Now there's two series I like to talk about. Webtoons. There were more series I read, but there's two that I want to talk about. Okay, both of them are connected. I knew this for a long time, but definitely been confirmed to be connected now, right? 9% Reader and I think that's the name of it. 9% Reader and The World After the End, right? Now, like I say, I think I figured out they were connected. I mean, reference it was to each other, but also because I think someone in the conversation was like, yeah, no, these are connected. So I think they're also connected to more. I could be wrong. I feel like I think they're also connected to Jungle Juice. I could be wrong. I know that Jungle Juice is connected to Study Group, but I think they're both connected to Unnecessary Reader, or I know they have an entire universe of themselves, right? But I don't know if that universe also connects to it. I don't think Mercenaries in that universe though. I could be wrong. I gotta watch that video or a video about that. So, but we see these two chapters are very interesting. Now, the um the point I wanted to talk about, I really got yeah. But the reason why I want to bring up these two chapters in particular is number one, both of them are really interesting. So the Unnecessary Reader one, we see him die, and it was like we don't see him. We see him die, but he gonna reincarnate. But he was like, we don't know the Greek gods are being threatful because he's like, you have to accept the power or die, right? Or you're gonna die, and the power is of Zeus. So let's get in theory. This was gonna be a video by itself, but let's just clump this in with weekly reads. So my theory is that his mother gonna kill him, or his mother or father is gonna kill him. Now his father is already dead, so it's reasonable to assume that his father cannot kill him. But we do know that you can come back to life with the system, so it's very much possible that, take for instance, a certain god of death or a different god of death could bring his father back, and we do know that he was abusive and whatnot. So I don't think it's gonna be his father, but it could very much bring his father back and kill him. But I think it's gonna be his mother. Now, let me explain. First of why I think it's gonna be one of them. So they say that it's the person you love most in the world, right? And based off of everything we've seen, it's not on the main cast. There's one person that have never tested it that could be it, but it's not on the main cast, right? The another person I would think about is that it could be the person who wrote the story, but I don't think it's them either. The reason why? Never introduced them. That's plain simple. We don't know them enough to be like, oh, this is gonna be him. And based on the comic set, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he never meets him anyways. So I don't think it is gonna be him either, right? And also that'd be more of a love for his story than himself. I mean, the person himself. So it could be that. It could mean the love of the story, but I don't think how that is gonna be it, because that it says person, right? So he loves his story, but he couldn't just hate him as a person, or we don't know how. We know that he's like the author in his story in particular, but he also know he's down okay, what's the deal with you? He haven't met the author yet, but he's like, okay, what? Something weird here. So it could be him now, or them. I'm gonna say them because we don't know this girl, and it could very much be his mom, because we know that she was a famous author who wrote a book that was was a bestseller. So, how about y'all? So you never know. She could be the writer too. This looks terrible despite me going to the mic because of the camera angle. And I don't think I'm even looking at the camera. Because it's hard for me to tell if I am or am I not. Anyways, now that I think about it, a lot of times I don't look at the camera. I look at the screen so I can see my eyes instead of looking at the camera because I can somewhat see my eyes. I'm gonna go the next 2 minutes without looking at me, just looking straight in the camera. Y'all tell me how y'all feel and whether y'all like it or not. But based off of this, right, it's not gonna be them. And I highly doubt it's gonna be someone we're introduced to, because as they even said, it's rare for that to happen. So now the question becomes, who is it? And I think it's gonna be his mom. We know that he at least somewhat cared for her. We do know that he disliked her, but that doesn't mean he loved her any less. But it's also his mother. His mother, he probably loved his mother. And then we do know that he does like black dresses. But I don't think that has to do with anything, because that's a suit. We don't know who I don't think anyone we love him much more than others. There are different levels of it, but it's not. Also, they're not even close enough to do it, right? But now let's talk about his mother, because there's a lot of evidence going for it. First of all, we already know that she doesn't get along with him, or at least he doesn't get along with her. So, we also know she seems to be manipulative to some extent, but also to have a lot of faith in her kid. So she could have faith that he gonna come back after she stabs him. So we also know that she has killed someone before and has killed them for the betterment of him. So it's very much possible that while trying to kill someone for him, she accidentally triggered it. We also know that I think this is confirmed. We have a decent bit of evidence, at least, that she might have also read the series too. So she might know some of what's going on and might also try and be working towards helping him. We don't know exactly what she's doing, but this is just a couple things. But I think the more important thing is the Olympians. Now, you ever seen God of War, you would know about the cycle of parents murdering their parents in Greek mythology. So let's actually talk about it. I think it's interesting because Greek mythology is the one that actually set out their way to actively try to help them. Now, there are people. Now, there is gonna be definitely something where like, oh, we want him to join. He's strong. But I also think there is a general concern. But I also do think that it's generally supposed to be hinting at something. First of all, well, once again, he does have some connection within it. But why Zeus's when you have Aphrodite and Hades, who you both will know and both are likely to be willing to give out their stories or have him succeed their stories? And then also the fact that, most of the people that he works with don't trust other gods. And they should know this. Or at least, might expect this. So I do think it's interesting. But also, as I said, cycle parents murdering their parents. Why like Greek have a lot of that, so it makes sense that if any if you're looking at like why these people, you could probably say okay, in Greek mythology there are a lot of killing their parents, right? And one of the first people to do it, or one of the biggest people like well known for doing it, is Zeus. Zeus killed Kronos, I think. I could be wrong, but he killed or slash defeated his father along with his other brothers. So that added up. He's also the strongest guy. Kim is the strongest player. But the point is, there are a lot of parents murdering their parents, so it would make sense. Like, okay, why would he need this? If you take it from the perspective of there being like he's not being like opinionated, like you need this power to die. Otherwise you're gonna die. It would make sense to give him the power. Like it's not only the strongest one, but also the power of which is meant to kill someone's parent. Like, or was used to kill a parent, and then have the person try and kill him be his parent. Also, considering the fact that Sun Ju, I think that's her name, Sun Ju, already have a agreement with them, like in a contract, I think, or they just they're her god, right? So it is interesting that why give it to him? It was like there, of course, he is incredibly strong, but like why him in particular instead of someone else? So I think that his mother gonna kill him. Don't know the reason why. Could be to benefit him, or I think that it would benefit him, and then wind up, dying himself or whatever. And then I think that's the way it's gonna go. Haven't read the light novel, so don't know. Now, the reason why I talk about these two in particular instead of the usual three, and because I didn't watch three, I did read three, but I knew that this was going to take a long segment. Like, I'm pretty sure that segment alone added another, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So, if this next segment shouldn't be that long, essentially, we get more into his, questioning. So, the first thing is, he finally gets sued. But interesting enough, it seemed to not have to worry about the rule of him being naked, to gain strength, which I do think is interesting. Also, it might be his final suit change, at least for a long period of time, because it has the self-heal property, and also change to seemingly whatever he wants, so we could see a older outfit back. But we don't know. This is cool looking for the most part. Some of it kind of, like the circles kind of throw you off, because it's like a little too futuristic to see on him, but or like too techy to see on him. But it does make sense. We also know that we learned that a god of faith is there. Now I do think it's interesting is by confirming that Kim Doja is a real person in this universe. It means that first of all there could be multiple Earth, right? Or like they're they're definitely a broader dimension than what we think. But it also means that these truly aren't gods because there are no stories or anything like that which are required to be gods. We haven't heard of anyone getting a story yet. And then it also means that when it comes to the other series, there could be some connection because we see Kim Doja. I forgot the name of the character, but we see him use a similar power as Jin Jongwoo, where they transcend the skill with the ability they can use. So I do think it's interesting that we might see more of that. We might just see them meet each other at one point. I'm not sure though. It would be interesting. But the reason we also find out that they believe that he can't continue. That we don't. We learned that they don't know that he's not like under Anderson. She is really underneath him, and that something with the sixth one in particular is gonna trip them up. So I do think it's interesting to see. So it might be too simple or too complex that they think, but we don't know. And we do also know that something going on with the tower where it's like they're trying to rebel for some reason. They rebelled once before, and I think that has to do with something with Anderson, and that's why she's lost things. So it's getting interesting. Since this isn't that much time, I'm just gonna throw a quick one in here. No, I'm not. I forgot the other series I read, but whatever. This is the end of today's video. Hope y'all like it. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And today's shoutouts are Opaville and I keep saying MC Hammer because I'm pretty sure that's the artist name. NC Hammer 23. So as always, if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, y'all will be the first other in the comment section below, and I am sorry. But with that being said, goodbye, see y'all next time. This is Weekly Reads with my name. I don't know if I ever said it before.